Hi, you guys. Okay, Snowfall, Season 4, Episode 2. Okay, the episode starts off with Franklin inside the warehouse with Manboy and Manboy's crew. Also with them is Jerome, Peaches, and Larp. Everyone is getting in position tucked off inside the cargo box. Manboy's crew look a little disorganized. Peaches has to keep redirecting them, and this is making me nervous. Scully pulls in and he is paranoid, and the drug-filled eardrops doesn't help. He's talking about he smelled roaches. Now, I do have to admit, he said that it keeps him in tune so he can see the signs. Scully is saying he wants to see some roaches. His boys is like, Scully, you good? Franklin over there nervous as shit. Like, you good, Scully? Scully said he smelled some motherfucking roaches. He was so paranoid that he fires his gun in the ceiling, shooting down the light, and all hell breaks loose. Now, Peaches, he was trying to tell Manboy crew to chill. He wanted Scully to come a little closer to ensure a shot. And I agree, because Scully is not an easy kill. I can tell that by just the way how he acts and the heinous ways he kills his victims. But no, everything went to shit. Pure chaos. Now, I can't understand why would Franklin take the side of Manboy. I was with Louis on this one. Yes, Scully is crazy, but he stayed in his lane. And speaking of staying in your lane, Franklin is outside of his lane. He is not a street politician like Leon. If Leon didn't go, he shouldn't have went. This was very stupid of Franklin. He should have mind his business and collect his money. Everyone meets back up at Louis' bar, and Rob is with them. Rob is still with us. But what is this Caucasian ass doing in niggas' business? Franklin anxiety is through the fucking roof. Peaches done got shot, but he's okay. No one can tell Franklin for sure if Scully is dead. One saying Manboy got him, and another person saying Manboy had a clear shot. Franklin said, that's good and all, but is he dead? Is Scully dead? Jerome said, God damn it, you gonna have to ask Manboy. But Franklin been on it. He been paging Manboy since he got in. Since Franklin can't get a for sure answer about Scully, he jumps into survival mode until he finds out for sure. He gets Jerome and Louis to drop him off at his parents' house to see if he can convince them to leave. While inside, Jerome tells Louis that he shot one of them niggas. He said, I got him right in the head. Jerome is dealing with the psychological effects of taking a life. I'm sure this was his first time killing someone, because remember, he wasn't like a Leon. Inside, Sissy and Alton tell Franklin they're not going no goddamn where. And Sissy tells Franklin that he needs to fix this. I don't know, fucking around with Scully, he might get dirty. I would have been out of there myself. Jerome tries to tell Franklin to sleep off the oxycodone, and then when he wakes up in the morning with a clear mind, then he can think of his next move. But no, Franklin need to find out if Scully is dead. He's paging Leon, but Leon is not fucking with him, so he's not returning his call. Then Franklin goes on over to Tinashe's house. He briefs Tinashe about everything that happens, and he wants Tinashe to use her Inglewood connections and see if she can find any information about Scully. And Tinashe tells him, look, asking about Scully is dangerous. Franklin said if it's not going to keep you in the clear, don't worry about it. Tinashe said, well, one of Scully's boys' baby mother dances down at the strip club, and maybe she can holler at her and it will be discreet. The oxys are really kicking in. And Tinashe said, boy, lay down, you good. Franklin closed his eyes for what he thought was a little while and woke up the next morning. Tinashe is like me. If I see that you need your sleep, I don't care how much your phone is going off, I am not waking you up. Get your rest. Franklin popped up like, what the fuck? And he's looking for his beeper. Tinashe said, it's over there. It's been going off all morning. Franklin asks Tinashe if she heard anything. And of course, she didn't as of yet. Franklin thanks her, and he said, I owe you one. Tinashe said, oh, I know, and I do plan to collect. I don't know about Tinashe. I don't think that she would set Franklin up or anything, but I do think she looks at Franklin as an opportunity to get what she needs. I don't know. I'm just watching her. Franklin gets himself all cleaned up and fresh, and he's still trying to contact Leon. He calls over to the house. Leon is not talking to him, but he talks to Fatback. He asks Fatback, has he seen Scully? And Fatback said, nigga, why would I know what's going on with Scully? You were there, not me. Franklin said, I know, but y'all do need to watch y'all back. Leon was right. Franklin should have mind his goddamn business. Finally, Franklin meets up with Manboy. Manboy says, your plan went to shit, but I got him. That's more than any of you motherfuckers did. Franklin said, Scully dead? Manboy said, for sure. But Franklin is not at ease with this, and neither am I. I would have asked Manboy, how do you know for sure? Franklin is laying low down at Louis' bar, and Tinashe comes through. She tells him Scully got shot, but he ain't dead, and he's mad as hell. And now we see Scully, and he's only shot one time in the shoulder. And this fool said, fuck the hospital. He's going to take it out himself. He takes a knife, and he takes a bullet out himself, and he cleans his gunshot wound with whiskey. At first, he said he's going to crucify Franklin, but then he said, no, that'll be too nice. He said he's going to stone him to death until he is a piece of shit on the concrete. What the fuck is up with Scully and this biblical capital punishment? Scully is a fool with it. Franklin is scared shitless. He needs himself a cigarette. He tells everyone, look, cut off Scully and no one is to get product to make money. Franklin got some guys that's going to come down for security from Compton, but they won't be there until the next day. Peaches keeps sending word that they need to go and finish off Scully. Despite everything going on, Franklin meets up with Nix to give him his money, to keep him quiet about Franklin killing Andre. Franklin would like to give Nix and his officers $10,000 to go to Inglewood and bust Scully in his territory. He told them that it's a lot of guns and drugs they'll find. It'll be a real big bust on them. That Scully and them is bad for business and he just want to get rid of them. Now, this is out of Nick's jurisdiction, but he did tell Franklin that he would think about it and he would ask his friends. And if he do decide to do it, it would be $20,000. Franklin is trying to rid of Scully by all means necessary. Leon is running out of product and Fatback keeps telling him. Fatback said, you know what, maybe you should hit up Franklin Connect. Leon doesn't want to do that. So little guy said, my cousin got to connect with the Mexicans. You should hit him up. It's worth a try. I mean, where else is Leon going to get his product from? Remember, he came up with Franklin. Now, Leon is kind of getting out his lane because he is not the type. He don't know where he's going to get it from. And he's a hothead. So how is he even going to get a relationship with a big time connect like Ivy? I don't even think Ivy would deal with him at all. Ivy never really liked Leon. Leon, Fatback, and Little Fella, all of them piles in a car and they goes to see the Mexicans to try to get some work. They telling Little Fella, like, you hook these up. You know these niggas going up there. And come to find out, they're being set up. Those Mexican boys got them the fuck up out of there. At first, the car was stalling and I was scared for a minute. Fatback said, oh, fuck, what are we going to do now? Leon said, cut that shit. Fatback said, I done already cut it. Leon like, cut it again, nigga, cut it again. And that's where I think Leon is going to find some problems because like Lloyd said, any change in price or purity is going to be trouble. And Leon should not be that stubborn where he can't go to Franklin. Alton is down at the shelter. He got a nice little thing going on and everything. And in comes Irene, the reporter. Now, Irene done had this poor child, her assistant. He's not a child, but he's a young guy. She done got him to look into Franklin's family, his father being a Black Panther. He knew that Sissy was doing bad one year. Then the next year, she's a multi-million-dollar real estate investor. He found out that Franklin had offshore accounts, and anytime he didn't know anything, she would make that boy drink. Irene digging down this rabbit hole is going to find herself 6 feet under. She done found out more information than the police. So now she know what angle to approach Alton with, and it's with the Black Panther. She tells Alton that she is a reporter from the Herald Examiner, and she's writing a piece about the community. She asks Alton, your name is Alton, right? Alton was on point because he said, how did you know that? And she said, no, one of the residents just told me. And she said, I went to Berkeley. I take it that you knew Fred Hampton. Alton Elton said, yeah, but he's still not really trusting her. So he's like, I gotta take care of some things. Because Elton, he's used to informants and shit like that from back in the Panther days. So he's not trying to get caught up in this silly shit. Irene gives him a card and said, look, give me a call when you can talk. Next walks in motherfucking Officer Nick. And he's mad as shit because he looked like an ass in front of his fucking colleagues. He done linked up with an Inglewood crew of officers. So they pulls up to where Scully crew be at. And it's like high security. Every nigga up in there got a gun. So the one officer is like, look, this would be asinine for us to do this. You see that person over there with a gun? You see him up there with a gun? And no telling what's on the inside of that bitch when we get in there. They tell Nix, no, we can't do this. And don't be calling us about this stupid ass shit. So now Nix is all embarrassing shit down to the fucking shelter. First of all, I don't even know why Franklin is fucking with Nix. He should have killed him. Second, Nix, you said you'll think about it, but now you're embarrassed and you want to take it out on Franklin? He goes up to Franklin and he said, look, I think if you tell Franklin instead of me, he would take it serious. But tell that motherfucker that he tried to set me up and now the payment has doubled. And if Franklin want to play some games, he will be back to fuck some shit up. Irene brings her nosy ass over and said, Officer Nick, do we have any trouble here that I need to write about? Nick said, no, we cool, and he left. So now Irene goes up to Elton like he owes her one, asking him why was Nick there, that Nick is going to be trouble, and that Elton needs to do a small little community piece, and that'll keep Elton off his back. Now, as I'm watching this, I'm thinking maybe Irene nosy ass could bring light to this Franklin situation, how the CIA is involved and how they're flooding drugs into their communities. Maybe so. I don't know. It's either going to be that she's exposing, the government, or she's going to be dead. This bitch is too involved. Later that evening, Alton and Sissy, they sit down and they have somewhat of an intervention with Franklin. Alton told Franklin what Nick said at the shelter, and Franklin like, no, I have to pay Nick. Sissy said, I have a better way to get you out of this shit. His name is Paul Davis. Paul Davis is like this big mogul real estate guy who has a lot of influence in the city. He has connections with the city council and the city's police commissioner. Now, Paul is collecting money for Mayor Bradley's campaign. So Sissy went down and she made a big contribution towards the campaign. They tell Franklin that Paul is dirty as they come, but he's clean enough to sit next to the mayor. Sissy tells Franklin, look, I know you've been trying, but your way is not working and you need to try another way. I agree. Franklin has came too far and he is making bull-cool money, not no small nickel and dime money. He needs to do like the Italian mob do and get in the political realm and have people in high positions to have his back, because Reed sure isn't. Okay, over to the new sheriff in town down at the Tiawandas. Reed has came up with a fair price of $10,000. The new sheriff in town said, I know you fucking lying. Y'all got me fucked up. He wants $100,000. He said he knows how much product was in that truck and how much it's worth in US dollars. He asks Gustavo cousin that's in a wheelchair, he's with them, and he asks him, do you think if you made peace with your enemies that you would be walking today? On this note, Reed gets it. He like, okay, $100,000, but let me call my people. Give me a couple days to call my people to approve this. And the sheriff said, that's fine. He'll give him a couple days, but I don't trust him. He is not playing any games. Back at the warehouse, Reed and Gustavo are stacking their shipment up. Reed is over there looking bothered, and Gustavo asks him, what's wrong? And we know that Reed is going through some things. Reed started off as a square, awkward guy. Now he's this gun-toting distributor, all in the name of the U.S. government. Needless to say, Ted is in too deep. And I was thinking, this may come back to bite Ted in the ass too, because he's doing all these things. He even killed someone. When this shit hits the fan and it seems like the government did all this shit, they're gonna turn their back on Reed. Ted Reed, who? He done gave up his family. Julia ass even was in on it, on trying to take his ass down. And I really think he told her too much. So Teddy tells Gustavo, like, maybe we shouldn't sell cocaine anymore. And I think for a minute he was serious. He tells Gustavo, we could just put this on you and rent you out for birthday parties. Because remember, Gustavo, he threw his cousin's children a birthday party and he was good with the children. I personally love Gustavo. He is my husband. And where the fuck is Lucia at? And how the fuck did Gustavo start working closely with Teddy? I knew that he would be doing his own drug thing with Teddy, but he looks like he's Teddy fucking security as well. Why? How? I don't know. I don't like it. And I need Lucia to come back. So what we doing? We just forgetting about her? Anyway, child, Gustavo gets back home and the teapot is just a steaming. It's going off, whistling. So he's calling out for his cousin. And remember, his cousin is there with his girl. And nobody is answering. The kids is not answering. He goes in the kitchen and find his motherfucking cousin and his cousin's girlfriend dead on the floor. And in blood, it says 100. That sheriff won his motherfucking $100,000. But that's unfair because he told them he would give them a couple days. But maybe he's thinking that they bullshit. He's thinking they got it and they trying to fuck him over. Well, child, he done showed them today who's boss. And that's where the episode ends. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.